Terry Pratchett's Witches Abroad novel is one of my favorite narratives of all time. Now, why is that? Well, it's book 12 of the Discworld series, which is a very subversive, satirical fantasy series with a whole just brilliant, colorful cast of characters. They all have their own books in the series. And this particular book focuses on the sub-series regarding the witches. It's these three witches. It just perfectly combines Terry's wonderful, just emphatic comedy with very real topics and very big concepts. The story primarily focuses on the three main witches. You got Granny Weatherwax, Nanny Og, and Magrat Garlic. The third of whom receives a letter in a wand saying, "Hey, you're a fairy godmother now. There's a girl called Amberella in a distant city called Genoa, and you gotta go help her out." Now, if this seems a bit similar to Cinderella, it is. Terry's novels often parody contemporary or historical folklore, modern tropes, popular media. In this case, he's essentially parodying every fairy tale at the same time. So these witches effectively have to go on a road trip to reach the city and meet her ward. Out of the three, I'd say Margaret Garlic is the kind of youngest and least experienced. She's a bit unsure of herself, a bit wet behind the ears, though she does have very modern ideas. For a witch, she likes a lot of things that you wouldn't really expect a normal witch to do, like karate. Regarding Granny Weatherwax, she's kind of like the foil to Magrat. Very straight edge and traditional, like very shrewd, kind of steely gaze. Believes people often use magic as a crutch. Now, the third of the three is my favorite. Her name's Nanny Og, and she's like this life of the party, just jovial old lady, lots of drunken wine-aunt energy. In a way, she's actually the most powerful of the three, despite rarely using magic either, given that she kind of knows how to manipulate the magic of people. She's very good at just being a good person who encourages people to perform their best, just be the best version of themselves. Now, the city in question, Genoa, has effectively been taken over by this power-hungry lich named Lilith. Most stories don't use the power of narrative as a literal force in the universe, but Terry's a bit different, because Lilith can manipulate the power of stories. And she uses this power to transform a very free New Orleans-esque city into this like pristine, clean utopia based on how she thinks they should live. She turns it into a fairy tale city. So, the three witches have to travel over to Genoa, and they find that Lilith's been actually testing this power on little settlements along the way, like turning a perfectly just normal castle into a Sleeping Beauty scenario, or forcibly giving a wolf sapience so it'll eat someone's grandma. At one point, a house just falls on Nanny Og's head as they're traveling down a yellow brick road, to give you an idea of what the story's like. It does become apparent that Lilith's kind of toying with the lives of people to fulfill her narratives. Once the witches reach Genoa, they find it's basically been forcibly gentrified. People are living at risk of, fear of being transformed into frogs if their behavior doesn't fit our ideals. Their lives have to become just thematically appropriate to whatever profession they have. The story really says a lot about the concept of power. Of course, at the surface, it's this very silly fantasy book that's satirizing a lot of other fairy tales and fantasy stories, but, towards the end, the witches actually team up with a local voodoo lady, and end up stopping the narrative with the help of Baron Saturday. You don't often get people in authors who treat the very concept of narrative as a literal force in the universe. It's very abstract and metaphysical, while also saying a lot about people as a whole. There's a saying that, power corrupts people, and in a way, it's both magical power and the political influence over Genoa that is what corrupted Lilith. More than anything else, though, her own worldview is what led to her downfall. She believed that people's lives could fit into little, just clean stories, and genuinely thought they'd be happier that way. As a villain, I think it's important to write a character that actually believes in what they're doing. A lot of people who do bad things in reality, in Earth, they create moral justifications for their actions, or simply just believe that they were the good guy all along, or that everyone would be happier if everyone just acted the way they did, or just, believed in the same things. And that's what Terry does with his own villains. They feel like real people because they act like real people. They're written like people who exist, not like caricatures. And I think that's why Witches Abroad is one of my favorite books. It's so human. And I hope you are encouraged to try it yourself. Thank you.